Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Curriculum Chats. This is episode number 3. Today's episode is called Living Up to Your Potential. I am Mila, I'm your moderator, and I'm joined by our founder, IO for Teens, Inc., Marla. So as a reminder, this is part of our inaugural foundational curriculum at IO for Teens, Inc. The name of the curriculum is called The Dreamcatcher, a playbook to achieve your dreams. So at the conclusion of this episode, please do go to our website, www.ioforteens.org, and download a free copy of the curriculum. It is free of charge, but it's going to ask you for some information because we want to make sure that we can stay in contact with you. Also, please do follow us on all of our social media platforms. The details are below in the details for this video. And also, we also want to remind you about an upcoming exciting event coming up. UCLA faculty Alex Budok, and also author of the book Becoming a Change Maker. So this is the book. He will be hosting. We'll be hosting an event with him where he'll be talking about his book. And this will be, I think, pivotal for anyone that wants to affect positive change at any level. This is the free event. Is open to everyone. I want to just take a moment and just read a little bit of the sort of preface of the book. So it does say, and as you sort of start the book out, it says, so stepping into a leadership role doesn't require you to be at the top of a group or organization, or even be highly visible. Anyone, regardless of title, personality, race, gender, age, or class, can be a change maker and affect powerful, positive change for wherever they sit in a workplace or in their community. It's all about having the right tools, asking the right questions, and taking realistic steps. So we think this is great. There's just so much that we're going to talk about when we have this lecture. So please do sign up again. Details are in the chat, but please register in advance. It's going to be on March 9th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and we hope to see you there. So with that being said, let us jump right into the curriculum, and our curriculum is sort of related to the topic we were just talking about. So we're going to jump into this part of the curriculum is living up to your potential. Mm-hmm. So one part of the curriculum is called leadership development. So this kind of reminds me of one thing we always say at IO for Teens, Inc., which is, and this is actually listed in our curriculum. You'll see it in our curriculum. It says, anyone can be a leader, but do you have vision? Right? So listen, so we can talk about this for like 5 hours. Yeah. So much. It's so much. We can talk about this for 5 hours, but we want you to enjoy your day. So we're going to just give you a little tidbit about leadership development. And so Marla, one thing you always say, which I think is critical, as you talk about leadership development, is that in order to lead people, you must first like people. So Marla, talk a little bit about that.
Yes, that's so key. I'm at the plug in process of writing the book. Leadership is not rocket science, right? And it's not. So, but we make leadership so much harder than it has to be. But one of the key things to leadership is you have to like people. You're going to lead them. So if you want people to follow you and be on top of your vision with you and join, and you have to kind of like the people. We're not saying be best friends. We're not saying, go to their kids, recitals. If you want to, fine. I don't know any leaders that do that, CEOs that do that, or whatever, but not saying to be a CEO to be a leader, but you have to understand that people are human beings. They're not machines. They have emotions. You can't say as a leader, oh, well, leave that emotion at home. Their dog Scrappy just died last night. Leave that at home. Well, that same person, Marla, that lost my puppy at home, is going to be the same person at work. So as a leader, you have to understand that. So this is something that teenagers need to understand, that as they're developing, as they're growing and throughout life, that you kind of need to like people. Just because you're a expert at something, is because you're really, really good at something, doesn't mean that you're fit to be a leader, to lead people and guide people. And the first founding principle of that is liking them. Like people. Understand that people are not machines.
That's good. Yeah. So let's say that I'm a teenager and I want to be a leader one day, because we've kind of talked about, this is really developing skill sets along the way. So maybe I want to be an influencer, or I want to start my own business, and I'm a teenager now. How can I go about developing myself?
This is good. So we talk about this in our curriculum, right? Developing the skills, the confidence, and the career skills that you need to do this, life skills that you need to do this, right? So where can you go and volunteer in your neighborhood, in your community? If you're homeschooled, a lot of homeschool kids or teenagers are doing sports, or they do extracurricular activities in other areas. Where can you volunteer? How can you add time to go out and show your leadership skills? If you are a part of an association, a lot of schools have, like you're the class president, have these different things you get to run for. The most person with the school, I won most school personality. You know, what can you put yourself out there for and be uncomfortable? Right? You got to come outside your box, right? Because in order to be around people, you got to put yourself around people, right? You can't isolate yourself over in the corner. And, you know, I always say the words introvert and extrovert are so overused, they're so overrated, because I think all of us have a little bit of introvertedness, and all of us have a little bit of extrovertedness in us, you know, but in order to come out of that box, you have to put yourself out there. No one knows you exist unless you put yourself out there. So I definitely say go out there and volunteer, find things to do. Get involved in your classes, get involved in your community. If your teacher needs something done, raise your hand. You know, hey, I'll do it. And if the other students think you're being a goody two shoes or being snobby, well, let them think that. It's okay, because you are developing skills that you're going to need when you become an adult. Trust me, we know. We know. Trust me.
So that's a good point. That's also, that makes me think of something I've heard people say often with leadership is, I want to be a leader, but no one's giving me a chance. So with what she's saying, it's give yourself that chance.
Yeah, that's
give yourself that chance.
Put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there. You're in control of that. Yeah. So let's, one other thing about leadership is simple, and leadership is simple because it always starts with people, right? If you're leading, you got to start with people first. And it's not always about getting the leadership role, right? It's about the journey. It's about putting yourself out there. It's about the journey. It's about developing the skill set. That's the key. All right. So there are 5 categories in the curriculum. Only one of them is about leadership. So talk a little bit more when you're talking about living up to your potential. One is leadership, but there are 6 others. So let's talk about those. What are those, Marla?
Okay. So within this classification, living up to your potential, so there's data analysis. Data is huge, everybody. I mean, but we need you to understand how to use data. Data is not only numbers. It's not, math, right? Data is information. That's what data is, information. Right? What we're presenting to you right now is information. So this can be considered data. You got to understand how to analyze that. So how are you analyzing what we're saying? That's an example of data. Leadership development. We just talked about that. Performance management. How are you doing on the job? How are you doing in what you're doing? So example, if you do, like when your teacher says, I need help, and you raise your hand, they're going to manage and see how you're going to perform. Or if the teacher gives you the task to do, when you go out to volunteer or whatever, are you doing the task that they assigned you to do, or are you off on your phone playing somewhere, right? Are you actually doing it? Someone's going to be monitoring what you're doing, right? If it's not measured, then it's not really counting towards what you're trying to do in life. Groups and teams. I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care what you're doing. You're going to have to be a part of a team sooner or later. And I'm sure you probably already know that. Especially if you're in sports, especially if you're in a community event or helping out with fundraising or anything like that, you're going to have to be a part of some type of team. Are you a team player, or are you taking up all the time? Bobby is always talking. Bobby is always saying what he got to say. Bobby don't let nobody else talk. People don't like people like that. Okay. You got to be able to share the wealth. You know, Bobby can talk, but then Bobby can say, hey, Susie, what's your thoughts? Right? Again, are you that's a part of being a team player. And work-life harmony integration. I can talk about this all day long, right? But there is no such thing as balance. You can't, because when you balance stuff, something's going to be always off scale, always off kilter. But you can harmonize all areas of your life. So you decide what areas of your life are important, right? Whether that's spiritual, mental, physical, friends, family, love, a partner, car, home, all the things that you want when you decide, when you grow up, right? All that's got to harmonize together. When you have kids, they're going to take up a chunk of your time too. All this, parents are going to get older. All that's got to come together. How can you harmonize that? These are areas that you got to think about. So all that's going to be in the curriculum. I know it's juicy. We want to talk about it now, but we're not. We're going to just let you think about it for a little bit.
Okay, so that's a great place to kind of wrap. So let's talk a little bit about the work-life harmony, because that's important. So stress is a real thing when you are trying to live up to your potential.
Yes.
And I was just thinking how, we've been, working really hard with our entire board on the curriculum.
Yeah.
And last week, we actually took a break. We took a week away, and a group of us went to Atlanta for the HBCU Battle of the Bands. And it was just a nice time to be refreshed, change of scenery. And it's just important, as you mentioned, to have that, not balance, but harmony, right? Still pursuing your dreams, but have time to kind of just debrief and have a change of pace. So Marla, tell everyone, what is one thing they can do this week to ensure they have that harmony, work-life harmony in their life this week?
Great question. So, and those who may not know, HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. But that's great. So where are you on your calendar? Are you scheduled on your calendar? You have time for yourself? Now, I'm not talking about baseball practice, track practice. I'm not talking about doing your chores, even as you're young adults, going to work. Those are things you got to do if you want to pay your bills, because you're going to have bills to pay, right? So, but where are you? The things that you like to do. We talked about this earlier, right? The things that you want to do. Where is that scheduled on whether you have a planner, whether you have it on Google Calendar, where is that scheduled? So if you don't have it scheduled, I highly recommend scheduling you on your calendar. Because if you don't, someone else will be happy to use your time and not pay you. Be happy to use your time and schedule your time for you.
Okay, that's great. So take home, schedule yourself on your calendar, 1, and 2, schedule that lecture on March the 9th. That's good for you too.
March 9th. Schedule that.
Schedule that. That's important. That's
and it will create a Google link for you on your calendar.
Yes. All right. So that's a great place to end off. Again, we thank you for joining us. Our next classification, we're excited to get to the next one. The next part of the curriculum, the classification is called Don't Get Caught Up. So that's going to be a nice session. So we have a lot to talk about that one. So as a reminder, please do go to our website, www.ioforteens.org. Download the free curriculum. Again, it's the Dreamcatcher playbook to achieve your dreams. So take a look at that. And don't forget to register for the Career Speaker Series, details in a link below. And we are looking forward to continuing to discover IO with you. So see you next time.
All right. Bye, everybody.